Hi.
Okay, so I think I've muted everybody and we're going to get going this morning. So, welcome everyone to this is a Restore Yoga class. So, it means that we're not going to be building any strength or doing a lot of moving today, but it's going to be quite a juicy stretch out, and we're just going to connect. I really feel a lot of at this point when we're at the end of February, there's a lot of contraction in the body. We've been fighting hard for a long time, and the cold weather and all of that. So just going to get into all of the joints and do an overall tune up. So yeah, what you need for the class is as many comfort items as you can. I'm I've got a chair here. We're going to start the class sitting up. And so you can use a chair or you can use a bolster. I may sit on the bolster, but it's whatever makes it more easeful for your back. I've also got a couple of pillows. I use a scarf as a strap. And if you don't have these things, then we will work around that, no problem. And the main thing to have is just yourself, your body, and your mind, which can sometimes seem like two very separate things. And through the class, it might be an intention just to connect, reconnect, or marry those two parts of self. So embodied mind, something that we don't have to force, and it'll just unfold and happen over time. So the work is really done, just getting here and make yourself comfortable. So if you are sitting on the floor or on a chair, to be a little more forward, so you're at the front of your sits bones, can bring a bit more space to the back, and can begin with the eyes just open, taking in your surroundings, what's here right in front of you. Often we're not even noticing, we're not appreciating just maybe just what is for me in the space that I'm in. There's a lot of light. Just taking in the surroundings for what they are, and the fact that there is a visual field. Some gratitude for that, being able to see. And then if you like, you can close the eyes or just keep the gaze soft down the tip of the nose. And just notice right away that you're sitting here, the body's sitting here, sitting, and knowing that you're sitting is the very first act of embodying mind and spirit. Why do you know that you're sitting? What is it about this posture? Where can you feel some grounding? Just allowing there to be a bit of a dropping, a sinking in. So not going into a big slump, but just allowing for gravity to settle the bones of the seat. and or the feet, the limbs, these lower regions of the body that are really our anchors for having just our very most basic needs met here. And then bring the awareness to any sensations of breathing that are happening, noticing that breath is coming in, feeling that lift on the inhale, and the settling back down on the exhale. Let's just stay with that for a little bit, maybe just for 1 or 2 breaths, feeling the lift, the space, and upward movement with the breath coming in. And the softening, settling, shoulders dropping away, roots growing deep on the exhale. Follow your inhale from the start to the top and pause. And then follow the exhale as it begins, the dropping of the shoulders, releasing of the jaw, and settling back down towards the ground. Take a few more of those. And if you wish, the breath can be in and out through the nose, or whatever feels easeful and natural for you. Can you feel the expanse and some movement awareness in the back as well as the front body with both the inhale and the exhale? And on these last few rounds, if you can, take a moment at the top of the in-breath and just rest there, feel the fullness. And the same thing, follow the waterfall down the bottom of the spine and pause there in that empty space, a bit of contraction, the protection, the hibernation, the grounding. One more like that, deep breath in and pause. And exhale. Let's drop the chin down towards the chest. You can open the eyes if they were closed. And then right ear over towards the right shoulder. Slowly start to look out over the right shoulder. Take a couple breaths there, settling the left shoulder down. Let the exhale drop the chin down through center, just checking in with the neck, starting with the upper region of the spine, and bring the left ear towards the left shoulder. Deep breath in there, and then exhale, take the tip of the nose over to the left. Take another in breath there. Exhale, chin to chest. Let's take the right ear again to the right shoulder. We'll pass through this sequence one more time. Exhale, look over the right shoulder. Another breath in on that side, keeping with some of that lift, that pranic life force, and then exhale, chin to chest, all the way over left ear, left shoulder. Exhaling, looking over the left shoulder, and another breath in there. Just follow my breath cues if that's comfortable for you. The exhale, chin to chest. And then bring the gaze back to center, reach both arms up, breathing in. And then exhale, stretch the arms, fingers towards the floor, gazing down. Inhale, reaching up. You can look forward or extend the gaze upwards to see, connect with that sky light, and then exhale back down to the anchor, roots, deep roots. One more time. Let's just reach it up there. And bring the right arm down and take it into a side stretch on the exhale. Inhale, wave up a little bit. And exhale, deepen a bend in the right elbow, heavy through the left sits bone. Lift up on the inhale and exhale. One more time, over on that side. Lifting up again on the inhale and press the palms up towards the ceiling. Arms don't have to straighten, the elbows can be quite bent. Just moving the hands back in space a little bit and dropping or knitting the front ribs down. Take another inhale. And exhale, press the palms forward and away and hollow the belly, moving the kidneys to the back wall. Inhale to lift it up. And then exhale to press the palms forward. So we're finding some flexion here. Lifting up one more time. And exhale, press forward. Let's release the arms and float up. Just keep the movements loose and easy as you bring the left fingers down. Try not to dive into your deepest place. A few waves here. Floating a little on the inhale. Just feeling that natural movement. So I'm sort of exaggerating a little bit, but it might be something that's quite a bit smaller. Just moving with that expanse, the prana, uplifting energy, and the apana, grounding, settling energy. We're sort of one foot into what's coming later or coming into this next month. And the change of season with still a foot in hibernation. Let's reach up again, both arms. Come up and bring the hands behind the skull this time. Stretch the elbows wide and away from each other, keeping with the height of the spine. Let's take 3 breaths there. It's 1, 2, supporting the back of the skull so that occipital ridge is lifting up a little, and 3. Let's take a small twist over towards the right, exhale. And then come back to center, inhale, and exhale over to the left. Inhale through center, exhaling to the right, and this time release the arms and just stretch them wide. They can be lower or they can be shoulder height. Take another in-breath there. Exhale, bring the hands back behind the skull. Breathing in to get tall, squeeze elbows back, and then exhale, just a small twist over towards the left. So we're not using the arms, it's in the rib cage. And spread the arms wide or lower the arms a little bit for another breath on this side. Inhale, come through center. One more time, hands behind the back of the skull. And then exhale. This time we'll twist and we'll hold on to anything that's in front. So it could be your shins or your thigh on the right side, and bring the right fingertips around to the chair at the back or cushion or wherever you're sitting for 3 breaths, softening the shoulders, the face, and the jaw. If it helps to anchor the mind, then you can just notice the exhales, that emptying out sensation. Come back through center and we'll twist over towards the left for 3 breaths on this side. Exhaling all the way to empty, that sensation of just wringing out. Let's come through center and we'll just do a couple quicker ones. So over to the right, exhale. Inhale, center, and over to the left. Lifting out of the sits bones over to the right. And then over to the left. And one more time, little corkscrew drilling down through the center line. And to the left. And back to center. So we've been sitting for a little while. Let's lean back and shake the legs out or give yourself a stamp with the legs. And then we'll come to the hands and knees. So just take your time moving out of that shape and over to the hands and knees, which might be nice to have something underneath your knees. Let's stretch the arms way forward and send the seat up and back and take just a very small bow here. Shift the shoulders forward again, come up a little bit. Just look at your hands and spread the fingers comfortably wide. Press the inner palms as you send the hips back just a little bit. Inhale, shift forward. And exhale to slide the hips back. Couple more times. Inhale, shift forward, and exhale, slide the hips back. Once more, inhale. And exhale. We'll start to make some circles with the hips. Focus just on the hips and let the rib cage and the shoulders will be moving as well, but just tracing some circles with the hips, both directions. Full circles or semicircles, or maybe something different. Maybe it's a figure 8 movement. Let's walk the knees in a little bit closer and the hands over towards the right and send some weight back towards the left heel. And then come forward on that diagonal. So maybe the hands are over at 1 or 2 o'clock, and then exhale, sit back towards the left heel. Inhale, shift on that diagonal, and exhale to take it back. And then let's just stay back. You might be sitting right back towards your heels, or your hips might still be quite high, but just lean the weight a little bit over towards the left. You could rest your forehead on your right fist for some support, or you can bring in a pillow or another blanket or block there. Just use whatever you have to make postures more effort, less. Less is more in this practice. Doesn't mean that we won't feel intensity. Let's walk back through center. Keep the right hand just in front of the face, over on the right side, and open up the left arm. We'll thread the needle, so bring the belly in and reach that arm across a little bit. And then open it up again, breathing in. And exhale, sweep that arm across. Keep doing that a couple more times. If you don't want to be on your hands and knees, then you can find a comfortable seat again and just come into an eagle shape with your arms, or just drawing the left elbow across with the help of the right arm. One more inhale. Come all the way down. So now the left elbow will be underneath. You'll be resting your head, or if it doesn't come all the way down, you can put a pillow under. Resting your left shoulder, or just letting go of the work there. As you take a few breaths into where you're feeling sensation, discomfort, tenderness. Any sharpness, any pain, just maybe going a little too deep, so back it off. One more inhale. Exhale, press the right palm down, and then open up one more time the left arm. And come back to center. Let's just curl the toes under now and sit back towards the heels, walking the hands back in a little bit and stretching out the bottoms of the feet. Let's sit up if you can, to loop the shoulders out a couple of times. And if you need to come up to a higher kneeling position, then do that, or add more padding underneath the knees. We're just stretching out the bottoms of the feet. Let's take the right palm forward, so just press it forward. And use the left hand. You can have a little bend at the elbow to encourage the fingers to get nice and long. Give the hand a little bit of a press. And then switch sides. So stretch the left palm forward and gently sort of press and massage with your right palm. Good, and then bring both arms forward, make a little fist there. It's a lot on the feet, I know. And exhale, release the hands back down. Bring the tops of the feet down now. And settle back into any child's pose. So the knees can be wide. You can place a pillow underneath your thighs, behind your knees if you like, or you can have your knees together, resting your forehead on something. It might be on a block, or different variations with the hands, fist on fist, or resting the thumb pads between the eyebrows, connecting with that pineal gland at the front of the brain and the seat of wisdom for maybe a little deeper, fuller breaths here. If it's helpful for you to use the breath as an anchor, that's fine. Something to invite your attention back to with lots of friendliness. Otherwise, it could just be any other sensation or sound. Let's take one more breath there. And shift back through. Back into that tabletop shape. Let's keep the knees underneath the hips or maybe a little bit back now. And just roll out, moving with the shoulders. So we did those hip circles, but let's move it with the shoulders now. Trying to just free up some of the winter huddle, making some opening there, or just noticing the stickiness that might be there. Looping the shoulders around, or figure 8 loops of the shoulders. And maybe some barrel rolls. Or feeling like you have a ball inside your rib cage that you're rolling around. I like to come to my fingertips, my wrists get a little bit much. So it's a picking up of the center and then over to the right. And then picking up on the left side and kind of going around in a big swoop. And there's no getting it right here. And the other way. Good. So we'll thread the needle, let's just walk the hands over to the left. So we get into now moving the hands over to 10 or 11 o'clock and then send the weight back towards the right. A few of those pulses. So inhale forward, just coming back to some breath together, and exhale, bring it back. Inhale, shifting. Exhale, a little bit of press of the digestive organs or the elimination organs, a couple more of those. Let's pause here. Hips can stay quite high and you're just leaning to the right, or you can be sitting right back on your right heel and even sinking your hips over, kind of sliding off of your legs there. You can make a fist with your left hand and rest your forehead, or bring any other comfort items in under there. One more breath on this side. Good. Shift back through table. Left hand in front of the face or a little bit further forward and off to the side to make some space. So the right arm will open up. And we're going to sweep it under, exhale, and reach over towards the left. Don't come all the way down, just opening and closing. More moving with the rib cage than with that arm. So it may not come very far out to the side. Drawing the belly in, and then exhale, come all the way down and across and rest on the right shoulder. And so if you don't want to be on your knees here anymore, then have the right arm across and you'll be sitting in some comfortable way, hooking it in a little bit with the left elbow, forearm. For 3 breaths on this side. Just following the breath, even just for 1 breath, seeing what's happening, where space is coming, where there's that expansiveness, and where there's some retraction and settling. Pressing into the left palm and opening up the right arm once more. Inhale. And exhale, bring that hand down. Let's curl the toes under one more time. Send some weight back towards the feet. Keeping the hands on the floor or coming to sit up. And squeeze the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale, slowly drop them down. If you're sitting up, squeeze. And release. And one more time, inhale. And exhale. Let's do a few figure 8 loops of the thumbs. Pointers. Stand up taller if you need. Middle. Ring. Baby finger. A few opening and closing of the hands. And a deep breath in through the nose. And then shake, shake, shake. Exhale through the mouth. Shake everything off. Bring the tops of the feet down and either just sit back towards the heels to stretch out the front of the ankles or take another brief child's pose. And the final option would be to bring the fingertips behind the back. Keep the weight in the heels and maybe lift a knee a little. Just depends on the bone structure as to where you need that stretch in the front of the ankles. And shifting to come to the seat again. Let's take the knees wide, just lean back into the hands and drop the knees over towards the left. Let's take a couple of breaths there. And just let the upper body relax, reach the right knee a little further away and press down through the right shin. You might even be able to connect or embody by having the visual of seeing your lungs, what part of your lungs is moving right here, right now. We'll slowly bring the right knee up and we'll switch sides, so let the knees fall over towards the right. You can use fists. My wrists always get tender. And press down through the left shin. Your left hip will be lifted off the ground, lengthening out through the left femur bone, left side. And just taking in the sensations of breathing in a felt sense or watching the lungs as they just do what they do. We're not trying to make anything happen here. Let's take one more breath on this side. Exhale to settle the hips back a little bit and take the legs forward a little bit wider and do a few bounces out. And if you have some pillows, I'm sitting up a little bit I have a little bit of height on a blanket. I'm going to bring a couple of pillows in front and have the legs be not out in a really wide split. So they can just be a little bit apart. Might need another pillow or 2 or whatever. Something to just rest the elbows on. Hands can just stay behind the back if you're have compression in the lower back with the legs in this position, then big hamstring stretch. We're just sitting here. So set it up so that you're in a place of being able to just have that ease in the breath again. You could also have a different configuration of the legs. Maybe the soles of the feet are together. So we're co-creating this practice. I'm going to stay here for a couple of minutes. So I'm going to use a bell to start us in and then to bring us out again. And as far as the bell, just allowing the vibration to hold your attention for just however naturally long that occurs. It's taking in the big picture of the body posture, embodying this shape, feeling sensations of the breath as the posture rolls itself out. No effort to try to stop thoughts or emotions from coming. In fact, the more we do that, the louder those voices become, just to get attention. So we just allow things to pass through, and we use breath or sound to anchor the awareness. With some kindness, and often these distractions are always present. Making any adjustments in the posture if you're not feeling that breath can be easy, or if there's any pain. In a moment, you'll hear the sound of the bell. And slowly start to lift the spine if you were in a bit of forward fold there. Moving any props out of the way. Bringing the legs closer together and just swish them out. Really loose in the joints. Wiggle the ankles, toes. Feel the flesh moving. Nice. And so we'll come on to the back. Have pillows, things around that you can grab. For the moment, other than for me, I'm going to keep that flat blanket underneath my hips. We'll just come on down. And stretch the legs out long. Let the arms, let your feet go a little bit wide. The arms are either wide at the sides, or if you're comfortable, reaching the arms a little beyond your mat in the direction of the back of your space, and just take up space, literally. Now that we're in this shape, connecting with the body in this shape, the body parts that are touching, the heels, hips, head, hands, shoulders, whatever it is, as well as the uplift, the front body, the softness there. Just let the belly take the breath in. And slide the left foot over to meet the right foot, or adjust your legs so that can happen. And then the left arm towards the right arm, and shift the head and shoulders so that also makes sense. You can hold the left wrist or the left elbow gently with the right arm. Nestle the chin down to whichever side is more comfortable for the neck. You might cross the ankles and see what that feels like, whichever one, doesn't matter. If you start to flip more onto the right side, then back it off a little bit. So your left hip is heavy and there's just a whole open channel here for the oxygen to flow freely in and out along the left side of the body. And when the distractions are apparent, that's great. Just noticing that is awesome. There's no attempt to stop distractions from coming. The noticing is the practice. Let's come back to something that's here and now. Walk the hands and the arms back to center, stretch out, lengthen. Take up that big open star shape for another breath in. Grounded back body, open front body. Slide your right foot towards the left foot. And then the right arm towards the left arm, and shift through the hips and the upper back so you get that gentle C curve. Resist going out to your furthest point. Lots to notice and feel here. You can hold your right wrist with your left arm, or hold opposite elbows to frame your head, and maybe cross an ankle. Settle into the pose, drop down through the right side body so that continues to stay. Just a natural breath here. Building muscles of patience. Focus. It doesn't mean we stay in focus. Noticing the ins and outs of it all for another breath. And back through center, stretch out, lengthen. Bring both knees in towards the chest, hugging around the thighs or the shins. And let the knees go quite wide and the heels stay heavy towards the seat. Rock from one elbow to the other. Now you can lift the whole right side up and then the left side up as you pendulum swing back and forth. Good. Come back to center. Place both feet on the floor and walk the fingertips down towards the heels. Let your low back press down. And then let the tailbone drop down towards the earth. So try not to lift the hips at all. Just let the ribs knit down and feel that imprint of the low back on the floor. The tailbone peels, but the hips stay heavy. And then inhale the opposite way. So you feel your tailbone reach down towards the earth, and there is a space underneath your lower back. Pressing down on the exhale, that pelvic tilt. Feet press, palms press, and then inhale, tailbone drops down as Some breeze blows underneath the lower back. Let's exhale, press the low back down now and go ahead and lift the hips up. And stay there for a couple breaths, just coming up maybe to the base of your shoulder blades or draw a heart rate monitor line and keep breathing. It's from that position with the hips not too high, but a little bit lifted. Walk your feet in towards each other. So let the knees fall away a bit. So the knees are still moving away. Drop your seat down a little more, exhale, and then press into the feet and lift your hips. So we're going to feel a little bit of squeeze in the buttocks in the lower part of the glute area, and then drop down, not all the way down. Inhale, press the hips up. So knees are apart, big toe edges of the feet are together. Exhale, lower. Keep the hips just floating a bit, and inhale, press and squeeze the bum cheeks. This can help release the lower back, and a couple of more of those, squeezing the hamstrings, the knees reach away and squeeze. Last one, squeeze and hold. Let the seat drop a little bit. Wiggle the feet apart again, back hips distance apart. Drop down halfway, exhale. Last time, lift the hips, inhale. And then roll it all the way back down, exhale. Land at the bottom and hug the right knee in towards the chest. And let's get into the ankle again, circling out the ankle and spreading the toes. Any position with the left leg, it can be bent or straight. You could put a pillow underneath the thigh. Just focusing on some of the sounds that might be coming from the right ankle. And then stretch the right heel up towards the ceiling. You don't have to hold that leg. You can if you want. If your head can stay on the ground, you can put a pillow underneath your head, or you can use a band or a strap around your upper hamstring and just be there. Reach that heel up. Let's have the femur bone start to externally rotate. So don't take the leg out to the side, but just open up the femur bone. So you will see the toes turn out. You can just relax the arms at the sides if you don't need them. And then bring the toes in to center and then open the toes again. It's all moving just from the ball and socket in the upper pelvis and femur bone. Just rock that in and out, in and out. Good, and relax the foot. Do a few small circles of that thigh bone. So not swinging it from side to side, but just massaging in the lower back with this heavy weight down through the right back of the hip. Just little wee circles. Feeling what's there. Let's open the arms up now. Have some space with your left leg. So you can take the right leg over towards the left and pause. Lifting up the right hip and then bring that leg back up. And take it open a little bit to the right without lifting the left hip. Your left hand could rest on your left hip bone if you like, and swing the leg a little bit over towards the left. And then back and over towards the right. One more time to the left, hugging back and down through the right hip. And then come back to center and hug that right knee in towards the chest to squeeze. Open up your right arm so it's like a wing. And take your left hand now with your right knee deeply bent. Take the right knee over towards the left. You can shift so that there is more weight on your left hip. And here's where, if you have a pillow, you could tuck it underneath your left shin, or you could bend both knees and have the pillow between both knees. So take a few moments here to set yourself up. You can have your gaze towards the ceiling or out over the right shoulder. If the right shoulder's lifted up, then having both knees bent with something between the knees or another prop underneath your left shin, or taking the right arm a little bit further down towards the hip. So having some thoughtfulness, some good manners towards the body, some positioning it just like you would a friend into the shape where we can be definitely feeling things happening here, the wringing out of the organs or the stretch in the hip, shoulders, but in a way that feels therapeutic. And I'll start us off again for a couple of minutes on this side with the sound of the bell. So the goal here is to not abandon oneself, to feel what's here, to be aware of the mental landscape or any emotional tone. Of course, when we take the time to be still and quiet, there's going to be a lot more that just is available to us. There's no end point, there's no need for it to be different. We're just allowing, and if there's a lot of anxiety that's coming, then we're practicing using anchors like the breath or the body sensations or sound to start over. In about 5 more breath cycles, you'll hear the sound of the bell. Not to get caught up in counting or measuring your breath, but just a guidepost. Let's roll onto the back again and give the right leg a shake up towards the ceiling. And release that leg down. Stretch the body out or just lie there with the legs long and the arms long so that you might take in some sensations from right to left. Let's squeeze the knees in again for a hug. And then place the feet on the floor. Let's go through a couple more rolling bridges. Press the ribs down and lift the hips on the in-breath. And then on the out-breath, just slide on back to the ground. Tailbone to the floor on the inhale, and then exhale. Press and lift. Feet press and roll it back down. Once more, press, lift, fill the lungs, pause, ripple down, exhale. Left thigh in towards the chest and squeeze. And circle out left ankle. Whatever position the right leg needs, bent, straight, or with a pillow underneath it. Centering attention in the toes of the left foot, ankle joint. And then sliding that heel towards the ceiling, just to feel that leg lengthen out. So you might be holding it, your arms might reach, or you might just let your hands rest at your sides. And the leg, have it be no closer, heel above the hip, or heel maybe further forward towards the bottom end of your mat, but not pulling the toes towards the face. So we keep the back of the left hip on the floor. And then let's do the internal and external rotation. So the toes turn out. You can feel your upper thigh moving. If you do, use your hands or a strap there, just even helping it a little bit. Toes turn in and out. Something underneath the back of your left hip that's getting squished there if you had it. Good, and then just some loose waving of this leg. So make some space for the arms to take the leg over to the right. And then over towards the left. Waving it. So your left hip's going to lift up a little bit as the leg tracks right. And then try to keep your right hip down as the leg opens a little to the left. So don't do the big swing out to the side. Keep it in the inner thigh and outer thigh as opposed to the pelvis or the ribs twisting. Come back to center, do a few little circles of that heel on the ceiling. Good, and then bring that knee in towards the chest and squeeze. So we'll twist to the second side. We'll take the maybe pillows over on the right side of your mat. You can bend the bottom leg as well and guide your left knee towards the right with your right hand. Set yourself up so it's really cozy, and definitely both knees. It's going to feel different. Sort of like you're setting the table for company and laying out that nice spread, extending the left arm down by the hip or away, really make it count. And shifting your attention now back to something that is present. So thoughts are for sure, they're here, usually about something in the future or some rumination about the past. What am I having for lunch? Breath is something that's always right here, right now. You can't breathe in the past or in the future. We can try. Sound as well is here. We're not hearing something from yesterday or earlier this morning. I'm aware myself that I didn't give you the ring of the bell for this one, and that's okay. I'm going to stay on this side for another 5 full breath cycles. Counting the exhales can be a nice way to ease some anxiety, but the goal can't be to get to 5 or to get anywhere, just noticing each exhale. In a moment, you'll hear the sound of the bell to come out of the pose. Shifting to the back body again, and let's give the left leg a shake. Maybe give the whole body a shake, so you can throw a little dance party here on the ground, shaking the arms and legs. Allow the feet to float to the floor, the arms to float to the floor, and just take that in. Our last pose today, if you are good and want to just be as you are, that's fine. You can bring in any other comfort items. You can put pillows underneath your thighs. If you'd like to take an inversion and you have a bit of height, so I have a little bit of a firmer pillow, or you can fold up the blanket a couple of times. Something to have underneath your seat, your hips. If you have a chair in the room, you can sneak your seat up, your own seat up towards the chair legs and rest your shins on the seat of the chair or the couch. You can just have your hips elevated a little bit, or the legs can float upwards in a way that doesn't require any effort, or the minimum, just to get into the shape where we're going to rest and digest for a few minutes here before we regroup. So let yourself settle, and then just cut the ties, the rope, untie the rope from the dock, and let yourself just float out into the center of the lake, into open awareness. I'll ring the bell on the way in and the way out, just taking in what's here as you rest and digest. No destination. This is a posture of integration. Maybe tough to be here for, but so valuable. If you've started with your legs up and it feels like that's not serving you anymore, then you can, of course, just come to legs down and take any supports out, and just resting in shavasana. If you'd like to continue, you're welcome to just stay in the shape and indulge, savor, simmer in that. We're coming to our time, so in a moment you'll hear the sound of the bell, and we will meet those of us that can to close the practice together. Being aware of your surroundings, so letting the eyes blink open, just as we did at the beginning, taking in what's here now, bringing some circulation back to the fingers and toes, spending a little bit of time on one side if you've been lying down on the back. Give the body a chance to come into re-entry. Pressing into the top hand to lift back up to take a seat. Resting the hands comfortably in the lap or at the center of the chest and dropping the chin. Just taking a moment to sit in gratitude for this body, for all that it does, has done, can do, will do for us without a lot of fanfare, things that happen automatically. And gratitude for this group, for this practice, for all of our ability to show up and support each other as we are, in the long end of this marathon. Thanks so much for your practice, and may the merits of all of our effort this morning inform and benefit the rest of our day and people that we meet. Namaste. Just going to turn off the recording. If you'd like to say hi to each other,